I am so excited to be showing you one of my favorite recipes. It is masala chai along with this delicious, crunchy, savory snack called Murukku. The combination of the sweet chai along with the crunchy, savory Murukku is a marriage made in heaven. Hi everyone, I am Maneet Chauhan and this is Maneet Eats, where I break down how to make the best Indian dishes from the market to the dinner table. Before we head to the market, stop what you're doing and click subscribe to Food Network's YouTube channel so you don't miss a thing. Here at a local Indian store, shopping for ingredients for masala chai and Murukku. For a masala chai, the most important ingredient is a really good loose leaf tea. Now, what I like to use is Assam tea because it is a stronger black tea. It holds up to all the spices that we are going to add to the masala chai. Now we need something to sweeten our masala chai. You can use sugar or honey. I like to use jaggery. Now, jaggery is unrefined Indian sugar. It has a little bit of minerality to it, which goes very well with the spices that we are going to add to the masala chai. What we are going to be using for the Murukku is a urad dal. Now, urad dal is black lentils from which the skin has been removed. It has a very earthy flavor to it and works beautifully when we are making the Murukku. I am so excited to be sharing how to make a Murukku with you. Now, one of my favorite memories growing up in India, I grew up in this really small town and I would have dinner at home, sneak over to my neighbors' houses, tell them that my parents hadn't fed me and just sit with them in the kitchen and see them cook. So one of my neighbors, the aunties used to make this Murukku and I would be sitting with her in her kitchen as she would be frying these delicious savory snacks and just sneaking some for myself. So I have a really, really fond memory of eating murukkus as a kid. One of the main ingredients is urad dal. This is used extensively in southern Indian cooking. Not only do you use it in savory snacks as we are going to be in the Murukku today, but this is also soaked and fermented and you make breads out of it. So it is very extensively used in southern Indian cooking. So we'll start off by dry roasting the urad dal. Now, this is a very critical step. You've got to be with the urad dal throughout the roasting process. If you just walk away, that's the time that the urad dal is going to burn. This will take a little bit of time, so have some patience and keep roasting it till it is nice and golden. Murukku has a really fun story to it. Murukku, translated from a southern Indian language, Tamil, means twisted. When you see these snacks, they are in concentric circles, so they are twisted. In southern India, Murukku is served with chai or coffee. It is called a tea time snack. In fact, every morning, along with my chai, I have Murukku. I always say cooking is a very sensory experience. So when you're cooking something, rely on your sense of smell, sight, sounds. That's how you make a really amazing dish. Right now, this beautiful, nutty, roasted smell of the urad dal being roasted is wafting through. And you can see that it has now started changing color. See. So it started getting this beautiful reddish hue to it. And at this time, you know, it's ready to be ground. So while the urad dal is cooling down, I am going to go ahead and dry roast some sesame seeds. These are white sesame seeds. Now, this doesn't take a very long time, so please be standing right in front of the saute pan. And now these are sesame seeds dancing. Okay, so the sesame seed is ready and we are going to put this in a bowl. Next, we are going to get a spice grinder to grind the urad dal. Now, spice grinder is usually the best way to go because it makes sure you get a fine powder out of the urad dal. So you can do it in small batches. And it's really fun. How you know that it's done is by the sound of it. So once it is done, I'm going to go ahead and sift it into the bowl which has the sesame seeds in. The reason why I grind the dal and not the sesame seeds is because when I bite into the murukku, I love that textural contrast of something which is nice, smooth and crunchy, along with the bite of the sesame seed that you get. This has our toasted sesame seed. It has our toasted urad dal powder. Now we are going to put some rice flour in it. Rice flour gives it a wonderful amount of crunchiness, which we really, really like. Next, we are going to go ahead and add some seasoning to it. So some salt, some turmeric. I'm going to put a touch of Kashmiri chili. The other spice that I'm going to add to this is called hing. Hing is also asafoetida, and it comes from a sap of a tree. So it has this garlicky, oniony flavor to it, which is very distinctive, and a little hing goes a long way. Once I have all of this together, I am going to go ahead and crumble some butter in this. The butter has to be at room temperature, because what you are doing is you are slowly massaging the butter into this entire flour mixture. And you keep on mixing it till it becomes nice and crumbly. As you can see, it almost has a sand-like texture. Now, what we are looking for is a dough. The dough has to be pliable, because this is going to go into a murukku maker. Think of when you're making a sugar cookie. That is the consistency that we are looking at. I add the water. Now, when I am making doughs, I like using my hands because I keep on getting the consistency of the dough as I am mixing this. This is what we are looking for, this consistency. Now, this looks perfect. I'm going to go and grab my murukku maker, and we are going to start making some murukkus. I remember my neighbor, she used to use a murukku maker which was like this. This is old school. You can actually find this online and at any of the Indian stores. Remove the base. The murukku maker comes with a lot of different dyes. This is the star dye which we are going to be using to make a murukku. A new murukku maker which I recently got is something which makes making a murukku very easy. All you have to do is just press it and make the concentric circles. So this is what we are going to use. Whenever you make murukku, just make sure that you nicely grease the inside of the murukku maker. Otherwise, this is going to stick to the murukku maker and you're not going to get a really nice, smooth, concentric circle. So, to use this, you go ahead and unscrew the bottom, and I'm going to use a brush and some oil to nicely grease the inside of this murukku maker. The next thing that I'm going to do is get some parchment paper. Now, if you want, you can fry the murukkus directly into the fryer, but this is a great tip for you to make a lot of murukkus and then put it into the fryer. I'm going to take some of the murukku dough right over here, put it in the murukku maker, put the bottom back on, and then on the parchment paper, go ahead and make concentric circles. Press this and it goes round. Make sure that you tuck the end in to the murukku. So this is what we are looking for. If you do not have a murukku maker, use a piping bag. We will take a little bit of the dough, cut the base off, and make concentric circles. The best part about the murukku is that they don't have to be perfect, they just have to be delicious. So now that I have piped all my murukkus, let's take it over to the fryer and start frying them. So, I have this on a parchment paper. The amazing part about this is that you can put the murukku in the fryer with the parchment paper, and then the parchment paper slides out and you can just pull that out. So this is going to go for at least 5 minutes or so. What we are looking for is a beautiful golden brown color for it to be nice and crispy through and through. Make sure that you have a plate which is lined with some paper towels for you to take these deep fried murukkus out. What you are looking for is something to absorb all the residual oil. So how you know that the murukkus are ready is when the murukkus stop bubbling. So right over here, as you can see, this is not bubbling anymore. This murukku is done. So the murukkus are ready. I am going to let this cool, and while this is cooling, we are going to make some chai. Before we start, there is nothing known as chai tea because chai translated from Hindi means tea. Masala tea is a spice tea. And growing up in India, you get tea being sold in each and every corner. And everybody has their own special blend of spices that they add. To start off with, we make a spice blend. Whenever you're making spice blends, my suggestion is to start off with whole spices because that gives the most amount of flavor to it. So I start off with some green cardamom. Now, green cardamom adds sweetness and a floral quality to anything that you're making. Next, I'm going to go ahead and add some fennel. Now, fennel has this amazing licorice kind of sweetness which just adds a smoothness to the chai. Add some cloves. Cloves gives it the sharpness, and then black peppercorns. Yes, you heard me right. The black peppercorn gives it a little bit of that heat spice that hits you in the back of your throat when you're drinking the chai. So cinnamon adds that warming sweetness to the chai, I think, which rounds up the chai. Next, I go ahead in a mortar and pestle, crush it lightly. Now, as you can see, I'm not making a powder out of it. All I'm doing is crushing it. The reason why I'm crushing it is to allow these spices to release their oils, and that's where the flavor is. So now that we have our spices ready, let's start making the chai. We will start off with some water. In the water goes the spice mix. Add some ginger to this. Now what you can do is crush it in the mortar or pestle or grate it into the chai. I'm going to be using a microplane. You can use a grater. The reason why I like grating it is as you're grating it, the juices of the ginger, they mix along with the spices and give it more of the gingery flavor. Now we are going to wait for this mixture to start coming to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, I do let it simmer for a minute or so before I add the rest of the ingredients. So good. The tea has been boiling. I have let it simmer for some time. Now, when you're making masala chai, milk is cooked along with the spices and the tea leaves. So in goes the milk. Now, it also really depends on which part of India you are from. In northern India, there is a lot more milk used. Southern India, a little less milk is used. It's also a matter of personal preference as to how much milk you want in your tea. Next, I'm going to add some star anise to it. The reason why I'm adding this towards the end is because the chai already has some sweetness in it from the cinnamon, from the fennel and the cardamom that we've added to it. Now, star anise has a very woody sweetness, which is a great finishing spice. So in it goes. Next, I am going to be adding some rose petals. These are dried edible rose petals. They go beautifully with the Assam black tea. So it's that floral quality of the tea along with the dried rose petals, which work so well. I'm going to go ahead and sweeten this. I like to use jaggery in this. Now, jaggery is Indian unrefined sugar. It's almost like dark brown sugar or palansio. The sweetness is slightly tamed in this, and it's got a little bit of a minerality to it, which works very well with the tannins which come from the tea. So in this goes. And now we are just going to let this simmer for a few minutes and your chai is ready. So now that my masala chai is ready, I'm going to go ahead and strain it. I got this beautiful teapot from India, which I love to serve my chai in. This is a fancier teapot, but in India, people are selling tea on each and every corner in teapots which look like this. They are simple, they are made of aluminium, but that's how they are selling it. I have my murukkus ready. This needs a cup of chai. Cheers, guys. You know what's a good chai time? All the time. so good. The reason why I love this combination is that the chai is rich. It's got all of these spices in it, sweet spice that you get from the peppercorn, so there's heat. There is the tannins that you get from the tea, the floral quality of the rose petals, the sweetness from the jaggery. And then when you have something salty and savory and crunchy with it, that combination is a very addictive combination. I hope you make my chai and Murukku and enjoy a comforting morning or a cozy night in. Comment down below what else you want to see me cook. And don't forget to subscribe to Food Network's YouTube channel for more delicious Indian recipes. See you soon.